Hello, I'm Janna, and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. Today, we're going to be having some fun with the new collection of Tim Holtz stamps. We're going to be playing with some floral elements and making some gorgeous bookmarks. If you'd like to see exactly which supplies I'm going to be using, go ahead and pause here. All right, let's head over to the Crafty Corner. Today, we are going to be making some bookmarks, and I want to start with some distress watercolor cardstock that we're going to be cutting up to make some of the bases for our bookmarks. These are our traditional 5.5 by 4.25, and we're going to be cutting these down to 2 inches wide each. And of course, that's going to come in at 5.5 for length. Now, for the bookmarks in all are typically 2 inches by 6 inches. So we're going to use these and we're going to be mounting them on a backing. But I love using the Distress watercolor cardstock because they're nice and solid and make a great foundation to play on. So I'm using the classic tonic trimmer, and we're just using that to cut up our bookmark pieces. And then we'll be able to dive right in and start crafting. Okay, so we've got our pieces. Set that aside, and we'll tuck the trimmer away. Now, let's use these bookmarks and stamp some things. I am so excited about the brand new Tim Holtz stamp sets. Now, of course, I have to pull in some Distress Black Archival soot. Now, the first set we're going to be using is Florestry. And that beautiful center stamp is going to be so fun to stamp with. It comes with its own custom stamping block, so we'll be using that to lay down our image. So let's mount that on here, and then we're going to go in with that lovely ink. Now for stamping, I'm going to be stamping on the smoothie side of the watercolor cardstock. I could stamp on the bumpy side, but I like my image to be fairly crisp. So right now I'm just kind of roughly measuring out where I want to place each of these pieces of paper, and then we're going to load the stamp up with our Black Soot Distress Archival. Okay, so just taking the little mini pad, and we're doing a little bit of a twist and a little shuffle to get our stamp inked up nicely. As you can tell, haven't even used the stamp yet, so this is a perfect way to use the stamp for the first time. I do love coating my stamps with a base layer of Black Archival soot. Kind of seasons the stamp, and the more we stamp, the better and clearer, crisper image we get. Okay, so just lining up the 2 bookmarks, and we're going to place those directly onto our stamp. Good, that's 1, and now I'll line up that second one. Excellent. Now I'm just going to go in with something else to kind of lay over the top, just so that I don't get my hands too inky, and then I will press down and make sure that we get a good, smooth, inky transfer. So just using another stamp set to act as a barrier between me and the ink. I could have gone with the stamping platform, but I didn't have that much room for more tools today. Okay, so we've got our stamps. We've got a lovely image here. That'll be so fun to color. And now we'll just take this, and I'm going to give it a quick clean so that I don't spread that ink everywhere. We'll take that off and move on to the next stamp set that we're going to use on our bookmarks. Okay, that's put back nicely onto its clear backing. Now we're going to be using the set embroidery. This is CMS 486. I love the little embroidery flowers. They have so much beautiful open space that they're going to be absolutely fantastic for some coloring. So again, we're going to be going in with the Distress Black Archival soot, and we're going to take the image and stamp it right onto the watercolor cardstock. Okay. So we've got this first beautiful flower set. Let's line that up. Then we'll apply some good firm pressure to get a nice clear image. There we go. Good. Just pushing down a bit and lifting. Perfect. That will be so fun to color in. All right, let's set that off to the side, and move right along. I'm thinking we'll probably end up doing 3 stamps from this set. So go ahead, we'll put that back and wipe it down, then grab the next stamp. All right, let's go with this one. This one, I like that. They look kind of like cherry blossoms, but not quite. I like the shape though. That will be another fun one. So let's go ahead, we'll ink this up. I love the detail of the red rubber stamps. Red rubber is definitely my favorite material for getting stamps in, and it always holds very nicely to the Archival ink. All right, lining it up and stamping it down. Good. And now we have another bookmark ready to be colored in. So let's pull that off and we'll put that back onto the sheet. I'm definitely thinking we're going to want to do one more, so let's take this one. This kind of makes me think of daisies. So wiping things off again, get rid of the extra ink. Now we'll go in and ink this up with some more black Archival soot. Just still doing the little dance with the little twist, the little smush, to make sure we get a nice even coating of ink. There we go. Bringing in another blank and flipping that over to do our stamping. Okay. Pretty good. And we've got a nice clear image. The next stamp set that we're going to use is an old classic. This is CMS 255 Lady Rose. And I was thinking those vintage roses would look so pretty on a bookmark. So we're just going to put that right onto the acrylic block and add our ink before stamping it out. Okay, flipping it over and placing that down. This one will definitely require a little bit more pressure. It is an older stamp and the detail on this one is pretty fine. I want to make sure that we get a very smooth transfer of ink. There we go. Lovely detail and ready to do some coloring with. Just quickly wipe off that stamp and place the pieces back onto the clear backing. All right. Now I'm going to take another stamp from Glorious Garden. This is CMS 236. And this is another very large stamp, but another great one for coloring because of all the detail and open space. So we're just going to work our way around with the little ink pad. Now, if you didn't want to use the mini Archival inks, there are also full-sized Archival ink pads available too. I just always have the little one on my desk, and it's usually the most available. Okay, so taking that bookmark and just pressing down on that so I don't get inky fingers. I've got the acetate sheet between me and the rest of the stamp. Okay, good. And let's turn that over and see what we get. All right. Again, such fantastic detail. Love it. The florals are going to be so fun to color with. Okay, we're putting this one back on its sheet. Then we'll move that out of the way and start pulling in our supplies for coloring today. Coloring is definitely my favorite part, and I love playing with all the different colors of distress. Before we dive into coloring, let's take a quick look at all of the lovely images that we have stamped. I was able to use a mixture of new and old stamping for the bookmarks today. Now, for coloring, we're going to be pulling in Distress Mica crayons. There's such a lovely grouping of colors, and we're going to be using a bunch of them while we color in the bookmarks. Let's go ahead and put things on fast forward as we start coloring in with the Distress water brush. have finished coloring in these lovely floral stamps. We've got some of the new stamps mixed in with some of the old, so we have a nice variety to play with. We got some embroidery, some French garden, and some of the very large stamp set, which is CMS 485 Florestry. So we have got all sorts of bookmarks. Now, we're going to make a few more, but using a slightly different method. I'm going to set these aside for the moment. We'll come back to them. And I've got some really fun backgrounds that I want to cut up. We're going to be doing some stamping with these, but we're not going to be doing any coloring. We're just going to be doing some stamping. So again, I'm going to be pulling in the trimmer. This is the mini tonic trimmer, and I'm going to cut these into sections of 2 inches. So I should get 2 bookmarks per sheet. All right, that's 1. And here we go for 2. So I'll get 6 total out of these backgrounds. Now this one is an alcohol ink background. This is some of the alcohol pearlescent ink. I love those, super shimmery. So we're going to cut that up as well. Okay, and one more. All right, and this one is some alcohol inks. I can tell these are the new colors. And we've also got some lift ink on here, so that is really pretty. Just take that, slice, set that aside. Oh, I do want to keep that little bit of lift. And just trim that last little piece. Great, so we now have 6 bookmark templates that we can play with. And we are now going to bring in another floral set. This is an old one. This is Wildflower CMS 253. And we're going to do a little bit of stamping with this one too. So we are going to take a stamp and match it up with a bookmark. All right, so I've got 6 of these, so we can use 6 different stamps and add them. All right, let's zoom out just a little bit. There we go. Now I can see more of what I'm doing. That's always a good thing. Okay, so let's see. Let's take that one. That can go with this one. Take that one with that. Like this. There we go. Oh, that's going to be a pretty one. There. We'll take this one here. And then we've got this one. I'll probably stamp that a few times over here. So we've got our stamps. Now I'm going to want some of the black soot archival ink to stamp with. And I've already got a stamping block right here. So let's take our first stamp, stick that down. I'm just going to move these off to the side for a moment. We'll come back to those as we stamp things out. All right, so just taking the mini distress archival ink and doing a little tap and twist, because we're going to want very good coverage. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to be perfect on here because this is the rough side up with the watercolor paper, but we'll apply some good firm pressure and see what we get. So I'm just going to stamp a little rock, a little push, and yep, that works out nicely. Okay, so we're just going to fire through these and stamp and ink. It's so fun. There are so many florals to choose from, and that makes a nice easy way to embellish some bookmarks. Okay, next one. Take that. Let's place that here. This one should transfer pretty nicely onto the pearls. Yep, that is good. All right. Take that. Put the stamp aside. Next one, we'll go with this little one right here. And this is, again, more the alcohol ink pearls for the base. That'll be good. Take that. And we'll stamp this one here. Okay. Very pretty. And let's go for this one next. As you can tell, I've used these a lot. You can tell by how much inky buildup there is and how many other products that I've used on it. that. And stamping it out. Good. All right, next, let's go for this one. This one I'll probably stamp 2 or 3 times. It's super skinny, so we can add more than one to the bookmark. I think I'll do 1 in the center and then 2 little ones on the side. So I'll take that, put that down, good, and ink it back up again. So let's do one here and second generation print over here. Great. You know what? I kind of want one more. This is a really small one, so why not? Okay. One more stamp. Got this one here. All right, and this is the one with the lift ink. Ooh, very cool. All right, now we're going to move on to the next step. The next thing that we're going to do is add these to a backing. I've cut some templates on here. This is going to be the base of our bookmark, and these are cut at 6 inches by 2 inches. So we're going to be taking some ATG tape and just adding a few bits to the back and then sticking that right onto that foundation. This is going to give us a way to give this a little bit more thickness and keep everything together as we laminate these, which is going to be the next step. Because when we laminate these, it's going to give us a really solid bookmark. And I love how these look when we end up turning them all glossy. So just lining this up and sticking it down. And that would be the base of the bookmark until we go through the laminator. So let's go ahead and put this part on fast forward as we back all of our lovely bookmark elements. Now let's take a look. Here are all of the bookmarks that we have made so far with their bases. Now it's time to bring in the laminator and the laminator sheets. So I've got some sheets right here, and we're going to be loading the bookmarks into these. These are kind of sticky, so we just gently peel them open. We're going to take a bookmark and we're going to wedge it all the way down to the seam in the folded sheet. And we're just going to snug that in there close as possible. It'll save us some cutting later on. And now we're going to line the bookmarks up nice and neatly so that we can get as many into this folder as possible. I do want to leave some space between them because I will need a spot to cut. But that should work pretty well like that. Let's see here. No, I'm not going to get another. So it looks like I can get 5, maybe 6 per sheet if I'm very careful. Let's see. Just trying to gently move these. Yep, I think I can get 6 per sheet. Cool. There we go. Just making sure nothing's overlapping. And I'm just going to cover that. Good. So I'm going to do all of these right now. It's going to take us 3 sheets because 6 and 6 gives us 12, and then we'll have 3 remaining for the last sheet. That's going to be okay. These can be a little hard to get, but a little patience and they are quite manageable. All right, so let's take that. We're going to scoot that all the way over here. I'm going to take this one. We're going to put that going across on the bottom. And now we're just going to carefully fill in the remaining slots. There we go, just like that. All right, that gives us 5. One more gives us 6. Excellent. And now we can do the remaining bookmarks. So it looks like 3 sheets will be perfect. Now off to the side, I do have the laminator warming up, so we'll be able to run these through right away. There, and these get a little bit of breathing room. Awesome. So I'm just going to tuck that in, close that up, and I'm going to gently move these over and bring in the laminator. Now, this is one that I found on Amazon a while ago. This is a swing line, and I found it's a very easy one to work with. So I'm just going to place that right here. If you notice, I've got 2 lights on here. That means it's completely lit up and ready to go. The green light's on. That means ready. Now, if you look at the side here, there are 2 switches. So the first one is telling us, are we doing hot laminating or cold laminating? If we just flip the switch, it lets us do one or the other. And then this one here would be our on-off switch. So let's go ahead and start running the sheets. These shouldn't take overly long to run. The machine's pretty quick and usually does a really nice job. So I'm just gently loading this, making sure everything's all lined up, and the machine will catch it and run it through for us. There we go. I just felt it catch. Alright. So I'm just going to hold that and let it run through. Oh, I've got a little dirt going on here. That's odd. Where'd that come from? Oh, that's like bits of distress crayon. That's weird. Well, let's just move that away from the distress crayon pieces. There we go. And as you can see, 1 pass, and this is sealing beautifully. So, this is why I like this machine so much. It's very easy to use, and it runs really hot, so things tend to seal on the first time through. Okay. And now I'm just going to get that second one ready. I am going to use a piece of cardstock to support it as I get it started. That just makes things a little bit easier when running full sheets through. Oh, I'm glad I checked because I just noticed one of the bookmarks kind of wiggled its way out of where I wanted it to be, so I want to wiggle that back in. There we go. That looks better. Alright, just double checking, make sure that everything is nicely lined up. And we can start running it through. There's our first sheet. All nice and laminated. Alright, sheet number 2. So I'm just using the piece of cardstock to steady things in and make sure that nothing's jumping out of place on me. Okay. Good. And it's caught. So I'm just kind of hanging on, making sure that nothing is wobbling out of place. That is looking pretty good. Oh, why is that one slipping? There we go. That's better. Okay, there. So, moving that one through, we can see it's coming out quite nicely on the other side. So that is good. Okay. Once all of these are run through, I will be cutting them out and we will be going in with a hole punch so that we will be able to add some fun tassels to these. Okay. For the punch that I'll be using today, I love the We Are Memory Keepers Crocodile. This thing works great. It's got 2 sizes of punches and it can pretty much push through anything. So I love that when I am bookmark making. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. The heat actually bleached that orange just a little bit. It looks fine. It still looks vintage, but that's just really interesting. Okay. And let's take care of our last sheet. Oh, I've got some sliding going on here. Let's fix that before we run that through. This is why I like having the extra sheet to support, because sometimes the bookmarks like to go slippy slidey on me. Okay, let's put that here. Move this one over. Good. And we'll scoot that one over a bit too and snug this one up. Alright, I think we're looking good now. Just gonna flip that. and start loading. Okay. There we go. Last sheet. And it's running. Perfect. So this should go through pretty quickly, and then we're going to bring out the scissors. This is going to be a perfect chance to use the Tim Holtz Tonic Recoil scissors. That is going to make cutting these so much nicer today. Okay, and we're almost there. Let's get the scissors ready, and then we can start trimming. Good. So, almost done. These are coming out nice and smooth. Oh, that's interesting. That one didn't quite want to close. I might have to run this one again while I do a little trimming. That hasn't happened in a while. Interesting. I wonder why that didn't heat seal all the way. Well, that's fine. I can run that again while I trim. Okay, so I've got that. Huh, this one came out a little funny, but it's salvageable. I'm just going to run it again. There. Okay, so while that goes through, let's work on these. So I've got the recoils, I'm going to carefully cut. Good. That's looking nice and even. So just work our way along here, get those scraps. All right. I bet we could do this on the trimmer as well, but I really like using the scissors for doing close cuts. Okay, so that would be our first bookmark done. All right, that's looking better. Can work with that. So we're going to go ahead and put this on fast forward as we trim out the rest of the bookmarks. Here are all of the bookmarks with their hole punch. The last thing that we're going to do will be to add the tassels to these. So I have got all sorts of different colors that we can add to the bookmarks. So I'm just going to take these, run them through, loop the loop, and there we go, finished bookmark. So I'm just going to keep grabbing tassels and threading them through, and soon we will have a stack of lovely bookmarks. Now this is an idea that I definitely use at craft fairs, and I do quite a few craft fairs during the year. A lot of Christmas fairs and some fairly large county fairs. Well, not really county, provincial, since we're in Canada. But those are a lot of fun, and usually the bookmarks are very popular. And in case anyone is curious, in Canadian dollars, these usually go around $3 or 2 for $5. So in American dollars, that'd be around $2 and a few cents. So we're just going to keep adding the tassels in. Now the tassels, I got these off Amazon in a bulk lot, and they came in all sorts of colors. So I like this part, matching up the tassel to the coloring of the bookmark. I find that part fun. So this is the easy part. I find that this part is the fastest. Trimming definitely takes the longest for me, but I really do enjoy this part of putting it together and seeing these as completed items. Okay, and the lamination, you can hear that they're pretty thick once they're laminated, because we've got that layer of cardstock, then we have some distress white heavy, and in other cases we've got watercolor paper, so these do turn into fairly sturdy bookmarks, which is really nice. Okay, I'll just keep threading these through. There we go. And this part really doesn't take too long. Just thread it, loop it, pull it. Okay, oh, I've got a really nice green one. I want to put that with this. And I just love the color variety with all the different tassels. It's so fun. And these are kind of a little bit shiny. They're like a satiny type of material, so that makes it interesting to add the little bit of extra texture to these. Okay. Ooh, so many choices. Okay. We are almost there. Just got 3 more to put together and we are going to be in great shape. Then we can take a closer look at these. All right, another loop. Got 2 more. Oh, let's do a white one and a kind of golden one. That will look good with these, and I'll finish things off quite nicely. All right, loop, pull, add another loop. I'll just pull that through and done. All right, let's take a little bit of a closer look at these. We made a total of 15 bookmarks today, and this was taking backgrounds that we already had in use, doing some stamping on them. We also did some fun coloring with watercolor cardstock and some of the Distress Heavy White cardstock, and we've been featuring many of the brand new Tim Holtz stamps along with a few old favorites to get all of these colorful bookmarks. Thank you so much for joining me here today at the Crafty Corner, and until next time, happy crafting!